warn somebody else, and that changes.
What about the Declaration of Independence?
Now, the people that wrote that were saying, tell the king forget it. We'll take care of our own lives. They wrote good stuff, but what counted was that they got together and they wrote it. They didn't need rights.
Yeah, they didn't even have rights until they wrote them.
Well, it still applies. If we want to lead our own lives, if we want a neighborhood or a community, we do it. We make it, and we live in it. Governments can't. It's too much to expect people in government or business to give us rights anyway.
Yeah, they got their own rights to worry about.
Leo Tolstoy said, I sit on a man's back, choking him and making him carry me, and yet assure myself and others that I'm sorry for him and wish to ease his lot by any means possible, except by getting off his back. The Chinese calculated that it took the labor of 30 peasants to keep a person in the university for 1 year. A 4-year program would require 120 peasant years labor. The equivalent for a PhD would be 240 peasant years labor.
The people who plan things, the managers and bureaucrats, hold a unique position in our society. They function in a high-energy state. They are energized. The solutions to their problems are energized. And a high-energy life causes a high-energy fantasy to be projected onto the real world.
Don't you think the faster things go, the harder it is to do what's right?
Probably. For one thing, it's harder to be honest in the high-energy system. And at the same time, it's a lot more important.
Why is it more important?
Well, the purpose of honesty in any system is that all the parts can know what's going on. But if they get a wrong signal, a lie, they don't work, or they work against the system. So if our body gets the wrong signal, it makes the wrong responses. Its functions are thrown out of kilter. Our head aches, the heart stops, cancer starts. Nothing works right.
So why do we have to be more honest in a high-energy system?
Things happen faster. Which means there are more signals, but less time to respond to each signal. And everything's much more unstable because each signal affects more things. And it has a lot more power.
Then a lie in a high-energy world would get you in more trouble than a lie in a low-energy world.
Yeah, and even though we need to be more honest, a high-energy world seems to encourage lying. Because the more complex and faster things are, the less accountable we are.
There are just more places to hide.
Well, some of it's economics. I mean, how many people can afford to be accountable who work for government or corporations, or even universities?
Well, they need to keep their jobs.
Albert Einstein said that almost all scientists are economically completely dependent. So few of them have a sense of social responsibility that they can't determine the direction of research. If that is the case, then how do we find low-energy solutions to our problems when the people who do control research are true believers in high-energy solutions?
Isn't it odd that people would believe the same thing for hundreds of years. They believed something from one generation to the next, almost as a matter of faith. And finally, a generation would come along and decide that what was believed just simply wasn't believable anymore. So they'd start to believe in something else. And then that would go on for generations.
Do you mean things like God and science or art?
Yeah. People would believe certain things about the meaning of life or the origin of life or what art was for hundreds of years. And then they'd change their minds and they'd go off believing something else. But the really odd thing is, as people began to use more energy, they began to change their minds faster.
Do you think energy makes us think different too?
Sure it does.
326 coming up.
Well, we used to think more about the process of how things happened, because our lives depended on it. Well, a high-energy system can let us forget the process, sometimes. And it does something else. It makes us more aware of some things, and less aware of others. A high-energy system just seems to amplify certain things better than others.
Like a tape recorder.
Why?
When you record something and play it back, it sounds different, because some parts of the sound are better than others.
Yeah, the same's true of ideas and emotions. In a high-energy system, things that are fast and violent and aggressive just seem to amplify better than things that are gradual and gentle.
Yeah, like sometimes you're really different when you're driving.
Me?
Yeah, remember the time you didn't have any mufflers?
That only happened once.
Well, you still drive crazy.
I don't drive crazy. You don't suppose that a high-energy system amplifies aggression, because aggression uses more energy.
That'd be weird. It's like getting a donkey to go by hanging a carrot in front of it. More energy would make us more aggressive, so we could use more energy, so we could be more aggressive.
You know what that means.
What?
Sooner or later, we'd blow ourselves up. Maybe if we understood how
We could stop following the carrot.
Yeah. Like, sometimes when you figure out why you've been doing something, you don't need to do it anymore.
Yeah, and sometimes you keep